I'm currently being joined by a man who I feel is the pound-for-pound top heel in all of WWE or NXT, Mr. Kevin Owens. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Doing great. Now, you've got 6 feuds going on right now. I mean, you took out Alex Riley, Hideo Itami, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe wants a piece of you, Finn Balor's the number one.
Wait. Hang on. I didn't touch Hideo Itami. I'll gladly take credit for the other one. So
okay, so you are absolving yourself of having anything to do with Hideo Itami.
Yeah, I just happened to walk by when, I don't know, something happened, but I
Okay. Fair enough. So now we're down to 5. So, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, and now John Cena wants a piece of you. How do you do it, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good. I think I've got my hands in a lot of good stuff,
You absolutely do. Now, we saw both you and Sami Zayn debut on Raw while you were still part of the NXT roster. And so how do you think that these debuts compare to the more full-fledged debuts we've seen in the past from guys like Neville or Adam Rose?
I mean, I think it's a bit more shocking, but that's only because NXT is growing by the day, and obviously I'm the NXT champion, and I showed up on Raw, not to have a match with John Cena, but to kind of set the record straight and lay him out. That doesn't exactly happen every week, so I'm glad I did it that way, and it's just kind of par for the course for me. I don't do things like other people do, and it's been working out great for me, so I don't think I'll be changing the way I do things anytime soon.
And you mentioned NXT is growing. It definitely feels like the cool brand. It's definitely more critically acclaimed. Do you feel like NXT is still a developmental territory per se, or do you feel like it rivals other WWE programming and you guys are competing to be better?
I think NXT, like you said, it's its own brand at this point. And it's been said before, developmental. Doesn't feel like developmental. Of course, everybody in NXT goes to the Performance Center and has access to all these coaches that have a great mind and great experience in this industry, from Robbie Brookside, who traveled all over England for so long and acquired skills that, I have never had access to before, through anyone. Now I get to work with Robbie Brookside and get to learn from him on a daily basis. Norman Smiley spent so much time in Mexico and in WCW, and now he brings that set of skills to the Performance Center. Matt Bloom spent so much time in WWE and in Japan. He brings that set of skills, and he opens up this whole different aspect. Billy Gunn, was in WWE for years, and he did the Independent. So he's got that set of skills. Terry Taylor was in the territory. He brings that to the Performance Center. Dusty Rhodes was one of the best talkers, if not the best of all time, and he brings that to the Performance Center. Sarah Del Rey, all over the world, as a women's wrestler, and she brings that. So, it's developmental because we get the chance to go to the Performance Center every day and learn from all these incredible people. But at the same time, we are all working, and the coaches, that includes coaches, we're all working together to make NXT something special and to help it get as big as it gets. And it's getting really big. So it's somewhere in between. It's developmental because we still get to learn from these people every day, and it's amazing. But at the same time, if you haven't heard about NXT at this point, you've been living under a rock. And I would say the product rivals the stuff you see on Raw and SmackDown, and I think anybody on Raw and SmackDown would say that about NXT as well. There's no denying it. NXT is doing really well.
Now, you talk about all the experience in NXT in terms of trainers. There's also a lot of experience. If you look at the main event picture in NXT, it's comprised of a lot of big stars who came with a heralded background from the independent scene, but there's also a lot of popular acts down there who maybe didn't have that notable background on the indies. So with that said, who do you think is the most underrated talent currently in NXT?
That's a really hard question to answer because there's so many talented guys there. Some of them who haven't not even made it to TV yet, really, but I think the answer to that would be Tye Dillinger. He's a Canadian boy, and he's been on TV a few times. He was even on, in the ECW, like the WWE version of ECW, if you will, a few years ago as, I believe his name was Gavin Spears at the time. He's in NXT right now, and, you know, he's been picking up steam lately, so I hope that, you know, translates into a NXT TV role, but, I look up to Tye Dillinger. You know, he's been around for a long time, and, you know, there's just something about him that I really respect. And, you know, obviously he's become a good friend throughout the last couple of months. But regardless of if he was my friend or not, I would be saying the same thing right now. He's very talented, and it's not just me who looks up to him. Pretty much everyone at the Performance Center looks up to him, not only for the stuff he does in the ring, but how he behaves outside of the ring. And I feel like if you're going to say who's the most underrated guy, because there's a lot of underrated guys over there, I'd say Tye Dillinger probably tops that list.
Dare I ask, who do you think is the most overrated?
I'm sorry?
Who do you think is the most overrated?
Yeah, you know, I really don't have an answer to that one, and it's not because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, because I've never had a problem doing that.
Of course not.
But everybody works really hard, and I think everybody's exactly where they should be. I really don't have an answer right now. If I did, I would gladly give one, though. I'm not trying to duck the question, but I feel like everybody holds their weight and carries their part of the load, and everybody's just working really hard to make NXT as special as it gets. And everybody contributes to it, you know. Like some guys, what they do isn't exactly my cup of tea. But then I look around and I see the people react to them. So what do I know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't say who's overrated, because I don't think anybody is, because everybody's doing something that's getting reactions from the crowd. Everybody's doing something that's helping NXT grow. So who am I to say that, you know?
Sure. Good answer. Now, there have been quite a few injuries in NXT as of late. How much do you feel like you'll need to change your style once you make the full transition to the main roster in order to extend your career?
Yeah, I don't think that's something that applies. You know, we do what we do in the ring, and injuries will happen. It seems like a couple injuries happen in a row here in NXT, but, you know, that happens on the main roster too. It could, you know, before we knew it, there could be 3 guys injured next week on the main roster. You know what I mean? It's just, wrestling's a physical, sport, and it's just, there's no way around it. People will get hurt, but people will get better and move on, you know? So, I feel it's more just kind of bad timing than anything. So it makes it seem like, a lot of guys in NXT are getting injured. Yeah, well, a lot of guys in wrestling in general get injured every year, so that's just the way it is.
Now, we all got to see your son Owen react to your debut on Raw, which is a great moment. I understand Owen is a John Cena fan?
Absolutely, big John Cena fan since he's been about 3 or 4 years old, I'd say.
Wow, has he told you to take it easy on John Cena, or is he now 100% behind you?
I can't say that he's 100% behind me, but he's definitely, he's really happy. He's really excited to see the match. He's really excited to see me in the ring with him. This goes back years where I've taken him to WWE live events in Montreal, and, you know, we'd be in the crowd, and he'd ask me, well, when are you going to wrestle for WWE? And I would say, I don't know, maybe one day, you know, and are you ever going to wrestle John Cena? Well, maybe. So, you know, that was actually a big selling point, and, you know, moving my entire family from Montreal to Orlando, that's quite a big move, and, you know, taking him away from his grandparents and his friends and school and everything. A big selling point was, you know, we're going to get to go to Disney World very often, but also, if I go to WWE, maybe I'll wrestle John Cena. And he was on board. You know, he's like, all right, let's do this. So 7 months later, here we are. So that's pretty cool.
Now, not to look too far ahead, but WWE's next pay-per-view is Money in the Bank. It's just about 2 weeks away. Do you have any interest in competing in Money in the Bank?
Yeah, absolutely. I have interest in competing in every, big event like Money in the Bank or, Elimination Chamber or SummerSlam or whatever it is. You know, I want to be part of those shows. I want to be part of that product. That's where I want to be. So regardless of what match I would be in, whether it be a Money in the Bank ladder match or if I was just wrestling, anybody on that show, I definitely want to be there. That's the goal. Absolutely.
He is.
And I think, you know, I think beating John Cena at Elimination Chamber will probably give me a pretty good shot of being on there. So that's you know, that's what I'm thinking about.
He is the NXT champion who will take on John Cena Sunday at Elimination Chamber. Kevin Owens, thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Cesaro has been reborn in the tag team division. So let's keep it that way. Let's just go with that. Seriously, not everybody has to be a world champion. I sure can't be a world champion, so why should Cesaro?